I'd like to call upon Karen's subconscious and higher self, please.
Yes, we're here.
Well, thank you so much. Can we do a body scan and see how she is with her body?
Yeah, she has some tension in her shoulders. It's the stress she's placing upon her, and we will work on that stress and get rid of the pressure points in her shoulders and smooth it out.
Lovely. Are you able to heal and balance her body as we are doing this session today?
Yes.
Are you able to also give her a spa treatment, as we say?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. I know she will love that. We have some questions for you, and we would love some clarifications, please.
Okay.
She experienced seeing a golden ship. She described it as being alive. Can you give us an insight into what did she see?
Well, we were listening in, of course, in your earlier talks before this session. And you were right. It was her higher self she was seeing. And it's a gift to be able to see that. It's a living entity. And when she tried to go inside, which she allowed her a little to see what she could try to see, all she saw was light, because that's what we are, light and love.
Beautiful. How did she interpret that dream?
She interpreted the dream as being a living ship, and she was interested to see what was inside the ship. And she allowed herself, and we allowed her to drift up into the ship, which she thought was a ship, to see what entities looked like in there, waiting to see entities working on control panels or something. But all she saw was light and a peace and a serenity and a love and a joy. He just gave her a glimpse.
Fascinating. Thank you so much. Um, Wonderful. Okay. And then does the higher self have a message for Karen?
Yes, there was a message given to her from her daughter's higher self before, to send love through the higher self so it can be filtered before it gets to her youngest daughter, Carrie. We're asking her to say and to do for herself, to send love to herself through her higher self, and we'll filter it back to her, pure love.
But isn't that what she's been doing? Because she said after she had that dream experience of seeing that golden ship, she wanted to each day in the morning send that ship love and try to anchor in somehow that energy. So is that what she's doing when she does that?
That is her attention, yes. So she's trying to send the love to what she thought was a ship. But she's also in a 3D body that's full of all kinds of different emotions that goes along with the love that's not pure. And we can filter out. She has done a lot of work. There's still some more to do, and there's always going to be more work to do. But the pure love that we would love her to have needs to still be filtered. Whoever she sends love to still needs to be filtered. She has the intention, and that's wonderful. But it's now time for pure love to hit every soul that we can.
Are you able to give her the sense of pure love now?
Oh, yeah, she feels it all through her body. It's tingling. It's wonderful.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you. And is she able to, because we've talked about giving herself some more self love, and so how would you like her to send it through to her higher self? And can she accept full pure love back?
Yes, she can. We will, just how she's doing, just as she was, just send it through her higher self. What she thought was a ship, but send it through. It will filter back down. And if we feel it's too much, we'll just give her snippets of it. She has also done a good job of using that to send throughout the world. And that is wonderful. She can do that with the understanding of it being filtered. And it's not to put her down, not to make her feel less than. It's just to understand until you're out of these bodies, it's almost impossible to send pure love.
Okay, thank you. Um, okay, and then she was curious about um, why did you tell her she just had one last block when she's discovered she's got much more?
She was not allowing herself to really grieve her mother. She didn't allow herself to. She was in the 3D understanding of the worst thing you can go through is what you go through with your children. And she was on that assumption, not realizing the connection she had with her mother while living on this beautiful planet. The connection she had was very pure. It was pure before being incarnated here and during. And it was a complete loss for her, and she was not addressing that. She didn't want to address it. She wanted to move on and just keep thinking that she was not giving her mother justice by not allowing herself to feel. And it's actually given her mother justice. Oh, more so for allowing herself to feel. As she just wanted to tell herself that what she experienced with her daughter was the worst ever. But really, it was the connection that she lost, and she never really truly lost it. She was angry with her mother that she left. She knew she didn't want to address that either. She understood the whole life cycle, but wasn't addressing the emotions of it. She was a loving, caring soul to her mother, and her mother let her know that she would have done the same for her if it was reversed. It's a true, pure love that they shared. They still have it. It's still there. It's just, it's not as tangible with, one still in the physical and one not.
And has
And
she
so she needed to come. We don't interfere. We do our best not to. There's free will. And she needed to learn this herself. And she was told, but she wasn't accepting that because she was still on the understanding of, or still telling herself it was the experience of the youngest daughter that was the worst ever. Because she felt like that wasn't giving her own daughter justice. Her mother had lived a full life. And she was a little confused about the two. In actuality, they're all three connected. It's a beautiful thing.
so for her to accept and release her physical mother, was also a symbol for her releasing her physical daughter.
Yes. She had an easier time at releasing her daughter than she did her mother. She wasn't addressing that.
I see. Okay, thank you. So, what else has she not been addressing and dealing with those emotions?
She wasn't addressing the emotions of the anger that was leading to depression. And she felt herself too strong to be able to let herself go down that spiral. We had some talks with her, but she half listened. We did allow her mother to nurture her, which she actually did feel that and remember it. It got to a point where she was blocking out parts of her life as she was living it, which of course we were listening, and that walk-in that she thought she had, in order to burst her bubble, she did not have a walk-in. She was starting to block her own self, and it was just blocking memories and experiences. And then when she would ground herself back in, she wondered what happened. We did help a little there because there is some work for her to do, which she does a lot in the astral travel and within the dream state. So we had some extra upgrades done, and sometimes that can cause some of that in the waking life, but it wasn't all of it. She has had more of a tumultuous adulthood than a childhood. And just she had problems with allowing herself to be nurtured because she's always been the nurturer. And it's all going back to self-empowerment. She's doing a lot better job now. She's learned a large lesson, and there's some smaller ones and some other ones to learn if she's ready to let them happen, letting herself be more open and open-minded and willing. And that's what we need with everyone.
So, that explains the memory and the sense of losing time.
Yeah, she was actually doing that to herself. It was tied into some upgrades that, when you get a good, powerful upgrade, sometimes it can stall you in such a way if you're in a waking life. That's why we do a lot of the upgrades within sleep. But there's times when the upgrades are so powerful that it may affect the waking life. And it did her. And it wouldn't have if she wasn't blocking her own self so much. But it did because she was. So it kind of did that and made her feel as she did. We led her to believe what she thought because it, appeared that way because she was confused. We do want to let her know she does have a major talent with her memory. She does. It's one of the talents she had before she came here. It's just a small little one. There's not really a whole, everyone, who comes here has massive abilities of that. Just gave her a little more of it when she came here. So that's another confusion of her part. But I want to give her an Atta girl because she actually did this herself. She actually pulled herself out. There, she thought that she was thinking or had the assumption or thought that she was hearing us say that we pulled her out here and there so that she could be rejuvenated. No, just like everyone, does their astral work in their dream state, has upgrades. She was able to really, truly heal herself. It took her some time, it took some work, and the only havoc that was being caused was with her own self and others around her. But proud of her that she came through that. And we do agree with her. It took a little bit longer than we would have liked, but she came through it herself.
It is extraordinary, and she does deserve that acknowledgement and recognition, because I know she is trying hard to empower herself. So thank you.
I'm going to tell her she's trying too hard. It should be as easy as walking. If walking's easy, you walk. If you're in mud and you're trying to walk, it's not so easy. Sometimes, if walking becomes too hard, sit down and breathe. When it feels hard, that's not when you push through. Some may think that sometimes that's when you need to stop. Breathe, pause, let it be. Let it flow through. And when you're energized, get back up and walk, and it'll be easier.
Thank you so much. There's great words of wisdom for her. I know she will listen. In terms of, she sensed that there was four males telling her messages. What would you like her to know about that?
All four know her, and one was an older gentleman, one was a little bit younger than him, one was her husband, and one was her friend's husband, who all had a different message through themselves that was poignant for her. She was at the moment of listening. This has been done before from others around her, but she seemed to be really listening to the masculine energy. And it just was orchestrated in such a way, and she heard it. She got a little upset with her husband with what he said, but his was pretty truthful. And it did wake her up, and that's when she really started to really look into her own self instead of thinking it was outside of herself.
We can send him love and appreciation for the triggers he has lovingly provided his wife for the opportunity for her to grow.
Yes, and his higher self was very happy with that. He's also starting to awaken and feeling more. She sees it. I just want to remind her, let him go at his own pace, please. He's doing fine on his own.
I'm sure she will obey that and be respectful of his his journey.
Right.
Okay, so then we would like to know: will everyone be will everyone who has their shift, their main shift, the main shift, the main event, will they experience disasters worldwide? We were curious about that. What would you like us to know, please?
In a sense, yes, the whole earth will shudder. It's a shaking. So, other parts of the world is going to feel it more. Who's ever closer to volcanic areas or big bodies of water or mountainous regions may experience more of what they can experience in that terrain, being it floods or earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis. For others who are not around that kind of terrain will feel what they don't ever feel, and that might be an earthquake. So if you can call that a natural disaster, it depends on how that would affect them there. There is going to be more and more natural disasters that will affect, that they'll start seeing, before the big, obviously moving on. But when a dying body is going, the whole body reacts. So there's not 1 inch it won't feel something or sense something. If that answers your question.
Yes, it did. But we also understand that there will be some people who are shifting prior that may not notice such localized disasters. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, for example, someone who lives right next to the beach and a tsunami's coming, we will have them shift before they feel the pain of that, or before they even probably see it. They might be sleeping. And same with someone near a volcanic area, or someone that has in an area that has massive amount of earthquakes that can cause the earth to split. So the experience of the shift is not a painful one. In fact, a lot of people who do pass, what others people see a person passing, it looks like they're in pain. That's just the body. That's the body going through whatever it's going through. Actually, the soul had already been departed.
Will there be people that, what would we assume, have just dropped down dead for no apparent reason?
There might be some of that if, like the ones who are around a natural disaster area of major event of volcanic reactions, or possibly fires, or tsunami, or anything of that nature. So one might see one drop dead, next thing you know, they're gone too. Won't be like someone's taken a movie of this whole thing. They'll be gone too.
I see. Interesting. Right. Okay. Thank you. Good to understand that. And will anyone who is on the old Earth notice people just dropping down dead mysteriously?
Well, in a sense, yes and no. Some of those who are on the old Earth would have taken protection, so when they see someone who's dead, would probably think that it's from the natural disasters. Although there are some who are staying behind, who are awakened, who are here to help the old Earth after the shift, and will know exactly what that is and see it and understand it.
Still would be a lot of emotions being aware of the shift and then finding yourself on the old Earth.
Some of them already know they may be on the old Earth and are preparing themselves for that, because their help is, there will be some smaller groups that will be coming to and leaving, evacuating the planet. And those are the ones that are awakened and know what's going on, and helping those around for them to help them. So most of them are aware. I'm sure they'll have a different experience that they're not ready for, as all of you do before you come here and say, I'm going to experience this. And you're in your bodies and probably wonder why you cause that with yourself, but it's all from experiences for growth.
How was Karen preparing herself for this lifetime?
She imprinted, first of all, a couple of lives before she came. Different times, basically, of what she's experienced in this lifetime, she imprinted on herself as she lived it. And she prepared herself as what she felt was needed to help Gaia and humanity to evacuate and lift up and awaken. She wanted to take what she needed to learn, because she felt like she needed to experience certain situations so that when someone else is needing the help, she can explain that she had been through this too. She can help you, or in such a way, but also to bring some of that understanding of light at the same time, of uplifting and helping. Also to bring some of the anchored light that she had before into this, as a lot of the volunteers did. And so that was most of the preparation, besides the ones that she contracted with to do this together and do their contracts together in such a way. This has to be shown Karen about her daughter, youngest, how she's helping the ones who see her, don't want to be like her, and want to make a change within themselves. That's where her purpose is right now. That's perfect.
Could you give me a sense of the type of lives she needed and wanted to have imprinted onto her so she could prepare for this lifetime?
We imprinted one in around the 1800s, where she was a seer and had an understanding and was feared, so put into a institution, key thrown away, so she would feel what it felt like to be not heard, and was able to help the people within that institution with themselves. And there was such a remarkable way of those people helping themselves that they were able to finally see what's going on around them. And the ones that were monitoring these people got a little upset with her and sent her on her way. She went back to her families, who locked her away. She found a way out and was helped with another person like herself, but had more of a earthly shaman like way about them. And they helped each other grow more. And was actually, after she began to see some parts of her life in that lifetime, she could see how that is how people are treated here in such a way, whenever they have truths to say and how they're treated. And then when they start helping others, how they're treated. And it was just preparation for that. Another one was further into the time of, towards the beginning of another time of actually being a healer, using the earth, and was not accepted there in that lifetime either, because it was considered evil, when actually it was a loving gesture of healing. And so that was another imprint, just to prepare.
Thank you. And where did she get the feeling of not being good enough or noticed enough or loved enough? Is this been a sticking point for her in this lifetime, or even maybe those imprints?
That was part of the imprints, yes. That there was part of that, of not being loved or understood, heard, acknowledged, appreciated. That was definitely in those imprints. In her childhood, she was a very, very sensitive child. And just simple words of maybe some harsh discipline from her parents of, you're not big enough to do that, you're not good enough to do that, had lasting imprints on her. And it kind of went hand in hand, those imprints and that experience in her childhood, to make her feel that she couldn't. And she started to, as a young child, try to start proving to everyone what she could do. And that was by climbing everything she could climb, and to the point of falling and breaking her bones. Getting involved in gymnastics that she did as a youngster just to prove that she could. And she did well with that, although she had a lot of injuries. But that was all about approval and not feeling good enough. It's been a constant theme in Human Collective. It's also something that it's a constant theme on healing right now in the whole collective.
Thank you. And so now that she knows that, is she able to profoundly release all of that today?
Yes, that's released.
How will she feel after this session?
A lot more freer, a lot more lighter, a lot more clear, a lot happier.
Can you give her that sense of her days moving forward now?
Yes. If she wants to be that healer, we can help her with that. As long as she keeps her vessel clear, we'll help her with that too.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I know she wanted to get some insights into after the shift and her connection with Karen. What would you like her to know?
Well, we've given her and Karen some glimpses, a little bit of what it's going to be like, but not really nearly the full picture. There are so many of you that have contracted to come here and will be working together after the shift. Some of you will be working together right away, and some won't. You'll have other, jobs I could say you could be doing. But there will always be a connection. Definitely, most always will be a connection with whoever you want to connect with at any moment. All you got to do is tune in to that individual entity you want to connect in with. And of course, there's going to be work to be done with other entities, and it's maybe not with anyone on this planet now. There might be some, but it'll be back and forth, and it'll be a fun reunion. But you'll be a lot more of an understanding of that. It won't be a sad departure. It's going to be more of an exciting adventure.
Wonderful. Do you want to tell her about some of the projects she will be working on afterwards?
Yes, we showed her that she would be more of a floater. We had her see herself float in space, but that's not what we meant by that when we showed her that. It's more of when, as you all are team, your collective that's around you is helping you. There's also a team of other planets of the collectives there, and there's also an outward line of other who are observing a planet and entities there. And some are more scientific, where they understand how things are grow or don't grow, or how people live, don't live, or how they breathe, how they function. And her job is more of the feeling of understanding of how they experience what they experience, why they experience, and then putting that information to the scientific part of it to make it more balanced for them to understand. And there's some things I just don't understand that having an experience on this 3D planet, this beautiful planet here, is a value for that to get more deeper into it, of intricacies of it all. And so being a floater would be when she's helping with that, there'll be another planet of entities to help with that planet, and then another and another, and the list will be long. Be like almost having to have an appointment for the next one. And so is all of you too will have, and you'll all be in high demand. Of course, New Earth is to experience and love and joy, but most of you are going to be put to assignments pretty soon. If you want to go to those assignments.
I see. Okay, well, thank you. Yes, it does seem like it's busy times now with so many obvious signs of the destruction getting more worldwide, globally.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
The more destruction of this planet, or not destruction of the planet, but more of the natural disasters as they start occurring more and more rapidly, more closer together. It's probably, if you're looking for a sign, can be a sign that things are getting closer.
Yes, yes. What would you like Karen to do in the meantime before this shift?
Practice her breathing, her connections. Remember to send her love to her higher self and ask it to be filtered and send it back to herself. Send that love that she wants to send to anyone else she thinks of to their higher self to be filtered through to them, so it's pure love. Send it out to the rest of the world and surrounding areas, and don't forget the ones who are helping outwardly of the earth. Could sure use it too.
Fantastic. Okay, wonderful. Um, we were wondering if any other planets are being evacuated also at this time and will find themselves on what we call the new Earth.
Yes, there are some other humanoids on other planets that are going through a similar evacuation. Probably not as drastic as this one, and they may not all show up at the same time as evacuation of this one, but there will be others, and they're mostly humanoids.
I see. Okay, thank you. And we were wanting to understand a little bit more about the situation with the ship Nubaru. Is it multi-dimensional? Is there 3D and 5D? What can you tell us about this?
It looks like it's multidimensional. It all depends on who's on the ship. It is, some people consider it a planet, but it's a ship. It moves. It's like a generational ship. And there are some that will have lived their lives and will remain in a 3D. Maybe that's one dimension, and there'll be others who are in a higher dimension. It's almost like much like an onion, smaller to bigger. And on this Nibiru planet, or planet, generational ship, there is some entities that can go through each dimension and help it because it's all within a working parts of it all, of the generational ship has to be in harmony. So they go back and forth and keep it in harmony.
So interesting. Okay, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like us to know about it?
That some people think they can see it. It's mostly something to be seen through a meditation of a third eye. There may be a time soon where some will be able to see it through a telescope. That hasn't been decided yet. It just depends on who we want to see it, who's ready, who's allowed. But that would not be for entertainment purposes. That would be a purpose for that. That's what's to be decided.
I see. Thank you so much. Okay. Is there anything else that we need to cover that we haven't covered yet that you know Karen would really like clarification on, please?
Just a reminder that no matter who anyone is or who they are, we're all connected. To remember of our own selves of connection with everything and everyone else, that we are all connected. That when we judge ourselves, we're judging others. When we judge others, we're judging ourselves. So that know that practice, the breathing of love is so important. To do the best on not being judgmental, which is a feat in this 3D experience, but to try to dismantle it with the love of all and everything in oneself. And the work on that will help raise a vibration of all and individually. But all it takes is one to raise high enough, and it will go through all the collective. So keep practicing, because you don't know who's that one.
Great advice. Thank you so much. In terms of disclosures, did Karen want to see, or does she need to experience any disclosures for her experience here on this life?
Most of the disclosures are already starting to come forth. And because we want her to work on empowering herself in the love exercise, we'd like to just leave it at that and just let things unfold as they are. So just keep sharing, loving, talking, smiling. Keep that vibration high.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Is there any other information you'd like Karen to know today?
No, I think we're good for now.
Wonderful. Really appreciate all the information you've provided for us.